Hello everyone, welcome to Benjineering today. We're going to attempt to, on our parts clone MS880, we're going to attempt our prototype attaching this remote throttle to the trigger mechanism in here. See if we can't figure out what's the best way to go about attaching these together. So I've already took the screw out of the bottom of the trigger assembly or handle assembly that holds this particular cover on, and that actually helps retain your throttle lock. And how that works is it's got this little leg right here that comes down against your trigger, and whenever you press down on that, it moves out of the way so that your trigger can come up past it. Let's see if I can get that out of there. Well, I can't because there's a pin in the way. But what we're going to attempt to do today is to figure out how we can attach this little hook into the face of this trigger right here, so that when it's on our meal, I will be able to work the trigger on the power head that's on the far side from where I'm standing without having to go all the way around. And that'll be done by this lawnmower throttle that I have here. So the good part about having a part saw is that we can test and theorize and get it figured out before we start poking around on our running saws. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how much travel we have in this. So we're going to start right there is full lock, full throttle, and we're going to mark this and see how much travel it has. So I have a paint marker here. I'm going to put a little line on that. I'm going to, that's one way to do it. Go the full distance other way and see if our paint mark is still present. It is. It is right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but break out our calipers. I'm going to switch over to millimeters because it's a little more, much more fine. Then we go from the end of our cable to that mark. Looks like we have 32 millimeters. Hope you can see that. So with that, now that we know that number, now we'll check and see how much travel we have in our trigger assembly. All right, let's see. Starting at 20 millimeters and go to 4. So we got 15 millimeters of travel in our trigger. So if we're going from, or 16 millimeters, it'd be 16 millimeters. I need a piece of paper or something to write on. I have a pen. And I have an egg carton. Alright, so if we're going from 20 millimeter to 4 millimeter, it gives us 16 millimeters of travel compared to, what would we say, 32 on the other. So if we have 32 millimeters of travel on our lawnmower throttle, and we've only got 16 millimeters of travel on our trigger, then we need to make a mark at 16 . Now we've got our mark where we're going to need so if you can see that little white mark there against the shielding for this cable, that will be our 0. That will be no throttle, and then this other white mark right here where my fingernail is will be full throttle. So no throttle, full throttle. And that should do us right. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to hook that into that trigger assembly and still have that 16 millimeters of travel. So probably what we are going to do drill a hole back here, attach it right here, and see if that will give us a thing. So I'm going to pause you for a moment, find a drill bit, and we'll go from there. All right, so I found this little, it's kind of like a steel grinding bit for my little Dremel or wireless Dremel. It measures 0.2 millimeters larger than my cable that will be going through here. So now I must determine what angle this needs to come in at to give the full travel. And it might be, I don't think that'll give us what we need, but if we go in from here, we might be able to get it. All right, Now that I figured out where I want that angle to be, and in there. Remove this, and our hole will essentially be right over in the side of this. All right, gonna get a little loud. All right, now we have our hole poked. Let's see if that will go. Oh, come on now. It's gonna be a chore. Come now. Does not want to go through the hole. I'm gonna have to make a hole larger. There we go. All right. Now that that's there, it should get interesting here. As now, we're going to have to fish that through the hole I made in the trigger. And going from that angle to that angle is not going to be so simple. So, see if we can take this throttle pin out. So now that that's off, how does that come out? Which goes out that way. Oh, that don't want to come out either. I think we can get. Two. not want to bend that. Otherwise, we are asking for trouble. I'm not so sure that that's a good spot anyway. What if we, however, remove the safety straight in? That would be interesting. That could work. But that also leaves us with a dangerous thing. Let's see. Let's see. Well, I can't even get that into there because that's right there. I think that might do us. So now, okay, let me see how that's done. I need to get this back out for a minute. All right. I don't think I did a very good job at explaining what exactly I did there, but I will walk you through it momentarily. It won't work no way because it's not the right size. Alright, so now I got that partially started. Now we can test it. So, let's see if this will work. Oh, it does. Let's see if it'll disengage. Oh, nope. Does not want to let it go back. Oh, there it went. There's that. Whenever I go back, let off of it. Alright, so something in there has a little bit of resistance. I think that'll be as simple as clearing up some pathways. So, it works feebly. but it works. I will have to do a little bit of more modification, but we've got a hole in our trigger. Oh, and that explains exactly what's going on there. This right here is binding up in here. I'll have to make a little clearance for that. And that allows that's sitting there. Not sure how well you can see that. Let's but right here, if you watch as we pull this, comes down, engages or disengages our trigger lock, allowing us to pull the trigger all the way in. That is full. And then whenever we disengage, that's where we're getting our hang up. And that's because this is hanging up on the face of this. So I'll just have to make a little clearance there for it to not hang up anymore. Alright, let's see what that does. Oh, intonation. That's it. Alright, there's full. And then we take it right. Ha, we're clear. So a little modification to the handle will allow our trigger to fully function. How close is that to full? May have to do a slight modification to actually get us full throttle. Alright, there is full. That won't move anymore. Disengagement. We could move on down here. Rotate it around. All right. I could get that to go into there. Yep. like I said, this is a part saw, so it's not really going to hurt anything per se for all these tests to be performed upon it. It's not going to be simple in the slightest. Thinking. That won't work. Plastic down. I think. Maybe some bigger pliers will help. Nope, they do not. Maybe the problem isn't down, it's up. See, I don't want to make the hole too big because then it'll end up being practically useless. Unless we heat up that end after we get it through and bend it around and make a hook out of it. So instead of just having the edge shape, instead of having that shape, we heat up the end and turn it into a hook instead. It's not a bad idea. I think I can work with that. This back. So essentially, once I get right there, sorry, I'll be able to take that hook end right there and bend it up and around. So bending it up and around the trigger here, and that will give us a hook to pull on there. Now let's see if that will activate our trigger. Oh yeah, it does. See if it'll disengage. And it does. All right. We have figured out how we're going to do this. Now we have to implement it onto our other saw, onto our actual saw. But, all right, let's walk back through what we did. So, where's my screwdriver? Take the screw out of the bottom of the handle. So we can get back in there. There's our screw. Roll this bad boy right back over. Now that we can get that off of that. Get that back out of that trigger. Well, that don't want to come out. Well, aha, there we go. Got to snap. Now, the bright side of it not wanting to come apart means that maybe whenever we're actually running the thing, it will not want to come apart either. All right, so we have more. Pause you for a moment and see if we can't get in a little bit closer. All right, a little bit closer here. So, what we started with the idea of drilling down through the side and attaching into the trigger from here proved very quickly to be a bad idea, a failed idea. So then the next idea was to come down in through the safety trigger, trigger safety port. That way we wouldn't have to modify our safety latch for the trigger. We still wanted that to be intact, and found there is enough gap between the safety and its port in the handle to go down beside of. And then let me get this out of the way momentarily. We drilled into our trigger assembly, our actual trigger, for the cable to go through. And that gave us support to access, or to move the throttle itself. I don't know if you can see that hole down in there. Yeah, right there. And then, because we had enough excess, we were able to drill into the trigger down here and come straight through, and that actually gives us the full range of motion without any hindrances in. I won't have to do this hole right here for the cable to come through, and I won't have to do the hole on the other side that we made needlessly. So we'll be able to go through fully through the trigger, get a full range of motion, and won't have any issues. We won't be drilling. Only thing that'll be modified will be the trigger itself. And that's simple enough to change if it ever breaks. So, hope this has been informational and fun. And we will, hopefully you'll see me implement this on the Alaskan mill and see it in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.